Did it change the whole game?
It did, and I'm deeply sympathetic to him, not just because he sounds like a guy who was catfished in online dating. He thought he got a nice touchdown from his 307-pound defensive lineman rookie, and instead he lost his starting quarterback.
Sounds
That's
like you're
pretty
speaking
brutal.
from experience here with catfishing. But go ahead, Bob.
It happens, and we should be kind to him because it happens. But the second thing is, the NFL didn't take the time in the offseason to explain that gestures that aren't an actual punch. You don't have to have a clenched fist, it turns out, to qualify as a punch. In week 3 of the preseason, they threw out players because of this forearm shiver type, open-handed slap kind of deal. And that wasn't a point of emphasis, but clearly now the NFL is making that ruling. So if you're going to throw out players for this, let alone the kind of weak block in the back, which is understandable because it's a quarterback, this part of the thing is kind of new, and Pete Carroll wasn't told about it, and I totally understand.
Okay, so you are, what was that, deeply sympathetic to
Yes.
Carroll and the Seahawks?
Yes.
Kalishar,
That
you
hurts.
equally deeply
Wouldn't
sympathetic?
trust anyone again.
I'm very sympathetic, and here's what the NFL did in the offseason, Pablo. They announced that they now have 21 full-time officials, including 4 refs. But everybody's been begging for that. Clearly, it's going to take some time for that to have anything meaningful, because this was terrible. The block on Rodgers, if Rodgers doesn't even change stride as he's running down the player who he's not going to catch, that's not a penalty. And the Packers player has a ridiculous face mask takedown before Lane throws the phantom punch. So just 2 terrible calls against Seattle. It's a 0-0 game. It was a 0-0 game for a long time. After that, it was a hard game to generate anything. That quick 7-0 for Seattle would have made a huge difference. So very sympathetic.
Woody
Yes,
Page?
I have no sympathy for Pete Carroll. I have no sympathy for the Seattle Seahawks, but I do have sympathy for the official for making a terrible, terrible call there. In college football, when they instituted targeting and ejecting players, they would look at the review and they could change it. The NFL, in all of its wisdom, should have said, we're going to add that to the mix, that we are going to review plays when you eject a guy. It's, according to the rule, you have to punch somebody twice in a game in order to get ejected. This is not a punch. All the dictionaries will tell you a punch is with a closed fist. That was an elbow. Yeah, it can be grievous, but in this case, the official made a mistake, and it did change the tone of the game, because you got your best cover guy against one of the best quarterbacks. He plays only 8 plays in the entire game, and he's out. They have to totally change their defense.
All right,
And
so
Seattle,
as we turn to Bill
got job.
Plaschke here, is Woody on to something that, they review every turnover, every scoring play. Both happened on this play, but they don't look at the punch or the shiver or whatever you want to call it, and that led to an ejection.
No, we're all being catfished here to think that this game was about that call. Come on, the whole game had to be played. How about Seattle's offense? Can we talk about Seattle? Pete's complaining about this. How about complaining about the pass protection? Russell Wilson had no protection all day. They ran just 48 offensive plays, the 5th fewest in the Wilson era. With their leading rusher, Russell Wilson once again. Their other running backs averaged 3.5 yards a carry. The offense was abysmal. They had time to make this up. Bad calls. It was a bad call, sure. It had nothing to do with the Seahawks losing this game, and I think, again, people are getting fooled by that narrative.
Absolutely nothing to do with them losing the game.
Very little. No, they had the rest of the game to make it up.
Pablo, you want back in? Go ahead.
It had quite a bit to do with them losing the game, but I'm not here to absolve Pete Carroll of all errors. One of the things that happened in this game is that Aaron Rodgers had one of those classic Aaron Rodgers free plays where he got to basically throw a 30-yard touchdown because there were 12 men on the field. That's certainly on Pete Carroll, especially against Aaron Rodgers, who has 4 times as many of those as the guy in second place, Joe Flacco, since 2008. That's kind of his specialty.
Kalishar.
I agree with Plaschke that one of the many, many things not fixed in this offseason was the Seattle offense.
Offensively,
it's still not very good.
If you agree
But
with that.
in a game that is that low scoring, a touchdown there, that's still a huge difference maker, I think.
Last word, Woody Page.
You guys aren't even bringing up the Graham call. I mean, the officials ruled that it was so badly overthrown, it landed in the end zone. So, I mean, really had 3 guys all over him at the end. I mean, there were a couple of plays that really did, Bill, you're saying didn't make a difference. I think it changed the overtone of
They had the rest of the game to make that up. From that first call.
If you believe in these 2 teams, you believe they might meet again in the postseason. So maybe they'll have a second chance to run it back.